Hey, you over there? Was it your birthday today? Was it your birthday yesterday? Is your birthday tomorrow? Is your birthday even remotely close to this time
Your
frame?
birthday has everything to do with twos.
It's February 22nd?
Oh!
Okay, I thought it was your
I picked
birthday.
up on the simplicity of my clue. Like, wait, twos.
It's like a study in duality.
No, it's all twos.
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 Deuces.
She was born at Ruby Tuesday on 222.
What is it?
Both days.
What is your birthstone or ruby?
No. Some people say it's waterstone, some people say it's amethyst. I don't know. But was born in Phoenix. Good old Phoenix, Arizona.
I wanna put on
My dancing shoes.
Hmm.
I love music because it usually reminds me like I'm of worth, or reminds me to love or relax.
Did you ever see Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
I don't think so.
That's how weird people and aliens communicate in that movie with music.
really?
Yeah, and the weird people would play a certain notes and the aliens would play certain notes, and they would just kind of go like that back and forth. And they all just started jamming away eventually.
Oh, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
And then the band Feel.
Oh, did they really? Wouldn't surprise me, because they had like all these lights.
They're very alien.
Are they? Nice.
Oh,
Beautiful.
they're like
Thanks, maybe you know.
I like that band.
You look okay.
You know?
You guys have been through it.
Yeah. That which doesn't kill you makes you longer. So you probably start growing. You could become taller.
Don't kill me, just tell me taller.
Thank you so much.
Is this Jeremy's flute? Whose flute is this? Can I play it? It's Jeremy's? I'll do the complimentary lip light.
Should I take a shower? Or it's just
If you want to. We'll smoke when Jeremy gets back. Hopefully he's not gonna
Let my heart shine. Let this song remind me Oh yeah. That's nice.
Aquarius, Pisces, cusp. Makes sense. Oh yeah, because it's like the last age was Pisces and this age is Aquarius. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo-hoo! So you get used to it. Oh, you know my first girlfriend broke up with me. It's actually January 3rd. Is that? I think it's me, obviously. I think it's January 3rd. But anyway, the first time when I broke up finally with my first girlfriend, it was like I just finished college and I had a week, like 10 days or so. And so I had never done any drugs before. I was 21. Cocaine, mushrooms, and LSD. Like 10 days. And I was like, whoa, nobody else loves me, so it's just like me. But I had 10 days or I started experimentation in college. And I passed my mind and stuff. What can I do? And I was kind of bummed, but I was like, well, I should just use the chance to be great and do things. That was an island, you know, I was just getting these kind of good drugs in an island. Yeah, that's interesting. That's just not my brother showed up. We lived in this big house, and all decided to paint the house. Since we painted the inside of the house. That landmark that that's the next year. Painted.
What, did she click you like something or something?
No, she just always pops up. We're just friends.
Yeah, I met her one time. She's real chill.
I think I know who your next girl is gonna be.
Thank you, Jack.
Yes, thank you. How'd you know? That's what it says above your head.
You are your soulmate.
trees. And the green tree. So the green trees here.
We've never found her in motel otherwise.
Nice.
Can I show you?
What is it? Yes. It's not mine, but yes.
It's Yosemite. Hey, it's Yosemite Sam.
Let's sing the song to make it alright. We are in love, we got tonight. Let's smile big with our tears, grinning from ear to ear.
I have a pretty short attention span sometimes.
I'm sorry, did you say something? Did you say something?
And sometimes I just have a really short attention span with playing. Like I'll just like start something. I'm also just like pretty pooped and just kind of a moon like a few minutes ago. And usually that's like a moment I'm like, I'm not really a person here right now.
We honor you. You're a woman.
Thank you.
Our friend is sharing this interesting information that women will change like 4 times in a month, and it's like guys are more like every season we like change
Yeah.
phases
Oh,
because we're more solar, where you're more lunar,
yeah.
and the lunar phases are more often.
Hey Rachel,
So
Yeah, what's that?
did you bring the bar soap in?
Yeah, it's in there.
It's in there?
It's that one.
Oh, it is that one? Nice. Alright, cool.
Are you trying to call your
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm enraged with happiness. I cannot believe how happy I am right now. I just
You won't be able to do that. Once you walk me out, I'll never get back to you. Maybe you can. On our TV show.
Let's start making a TV show.
Whatever you want.
What's the name of our TV show?
Perfectly reasonable.
How about the State of Insanity?
What state?
How about
All 50 states.
Crazy is worth a lot of points in Scrabble? It doesn't actually exist. But the medication is expensive. My brother is a doctor told me, he said, we're the only people in our building that weren't on meds. They said, you need to go on meds. So I'm a doctor, I make $30,000 a year. I get 16 weeks paid vacation. You don't make hardly any money. You take all this time off. I said, no, you need to go on meds. You're a tool of the man. You know, I drove to 6 times. I've been on 50 states twice. I do all this cocaine shit. I found medication. But if I admitted, I know we're both doing our and if they're not careful, they're going to medicate the condition. Because it's supposed to be low. So,
Yeah, I for one, I feel so much security in talking about these kind of things that I think other people actually find it interesting too when people like us talk about those kind of things. So I think the whole idea is have an open forum of like, hey, what is? We always talk about our physical body, like your physical body looks nice, you know, stuff like that. Your emotional body, I can rely on you because you're happy, you know, or I can rely on you because you follow what you say you're gonna do. But there's a mental thing where it's like, you're telling me you read chakras, he's telling me he's lucid dreaming. This person is putting together their own alphabet of code. Like, what interesting mental paradigms. I want to know a little bit more about each of these things. That's the point of this show, you know, and the point from my view is like hear about people's paradigms.
nice. Well, I'll tell you, once I did morning glory seeds because I had a guru, he wanted me to check out my previous lives. And he said, stop me if I tell you the story, but he said, mostly you're not very bright. And you're getting straight ass, but most good guys don't worry about
I
it.
had to stop you.
And he said, oh, because you heard the story? Yeah. He said, I want you to take a medicine and
asked what your purpose is, what your previous lives, can your sin become enlightened in this lifetime? This consciousness magnetized. And I did all those previous life regressions, but this is one thing I never told you is I did morning glory seeds and I had 300. I found them in the alleyways in Tucson. And Charles Manson used to live in Tucson when I was younger and he did morning glory seeds. Anyway, normally I just see a few words above people's heads. But there's some numbers above their heads. Usually it's the age they're at, how they're going to be when they die, there's mind IQ, crap like that. And then the other thing is, when I did this morning glory seeds, instead of just seeing a few words above people's heads, it's a whole page. And it'd be like, I went to this party and I was on what this guy's head had said when he was 32, he was going to become a film producer. And in 37, he's going to go to the store. And so I started telling people this stuff, and they fled from me in terror because it was true. And finally, there was this woman who was like a guru there, and she said, "Oh, let's talk." And she said, "Oh, you just became super too." I'm on morning glory seeds. Because if you do morning glory seeds, they're unpredictable. They're organic, so they're unpredictable. But you actually whole pages, like you can turn the page, and then it's kind of interesting, but I think you can make the problem with past lives and different stuff is you can get obsessive.
I'm not interested in my past lives right now. Like I just want to kind of concern myself about this life and this vibration.
You don't want to.
What's that?
Well,
What? What's that?
It looks like you're a Native American warrior.
Yeah. There's still so much to do here. Such a good group here. Put our the golden tree in.
What is your name?
Ben.
Ben.
Yours.
Last name?
Murphy.
What is it?
Murphy.
My name is Kaya Kennedy. I just, it's very interesting. Thank you so much.
What's your sign, Ben? Nice.
I always thought there's like an assembly line of like humans, when they're being made. Like you're born of a certain iPhone 8 or iPod 8. Everyone's all right. Here's these kind of, and like it's all this little assembly line package, and they're thrown out throughout the world. So you see people that really look like you, but they're one digit off. At least 0.1 or something like different. And I like hearing people like that.
Well, I also look for twin flames. So that's the mental paradigm that's relevant. It's very clean. Well, not always clean. Definitely a positive.
Thank you for sharing that.
Oh yeah.
Is there any way you could get a razor out of the car?
I could go back to my room and get one.
Yeah, do you have one?
Yeah, I can also tell you how to use the soap. Here's what you do: is you take the soap and you kind of go like this with it. You take it like this on your body.
Oh,
Do you have a
okay.
razor in your room?
Yeah. You want
Okay.
to forget?
Because my car's all
I just knew you were a hippie and like you might not know how to use the soap, so now we.
Oh, thanks, Russell. Yeah, I've never
Yeah,
used
go
soap
get your
before.
razor. I didn't know if you knew. Now you know. Do you want me to help you?
I don't even know that.
I know there was a little camper. He put chapstick all over his body, thinking it was soap. He was probably like 6. This is his first week at camp, and he comes out of the bathroom crying. I'm sticky. You know, I put this all over my body. It was lipstick, whatever, chapstick.
Wow.
Being a kid is fucking hard.
Right? Yeah.
Being an adult is hard.
We need to send out more support to kids. You know, I was thinking today, like, just as an example, you know, the amount of media attention that, like, someone like the President of the United States gets and the influence that it's directed. Like, these kids miss out about hearing about the rainforest. You know, they miss out about hearing about beaches, parks, and the sound of birds and animals. We should be really careful about what we put on these airways because
Yeah.
it's their minds, you know. Our minds are like our beaches, you know. You gotta clean them up. There's always stuff to enjoy, but you gotta go back and clean them up too. Just be careful with the minds. Yeah. And we're all gonna just be kids again. Like I think, as far like in terms of arguments and ideas presented, the idea of rebirth, that's like 1 + 1 = 2. So
Yeah.
like you're back.
Right. But also keep our bodies and fully integrate and then ascend. Like realistically. Then I think we can have full integration and keep our bodies.
It's like everything that's meant to ascend will ascend.
Yeah.
And then some pieces, you know, like our old skin cells, what even happens to those, you know?
Right.
Form a new body.
Right. Not everybody needs to come back, you know. I want to go home. Or I want to make home here. Home is here.
Yeah, I want to make others feel like home, you know, help them or whatever. You know, I want to be so comfortable. I help other people be comfortable just by my own comfort.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very comfortable.
There's this YouTuber named Benito Skinner. Do you know who he is?
No.
Dude, check him out.
Yeah, I want to do a podcast with Benito. Like maybe I can learn something from him. You know, if he's been a YouTuber for this long.
Benito Massaro?
Is that what you said?
Benito Skinner.
Oh no, I thought you were saying about Benito Massaro, like this crazy
Right.
fucking quote theater dude
His
here.
name is Benny Drama.
Oh, I heard.
Like, it's
Yeah,
Ben
it was
Drama.
super
yeah,
intense.
he's great. He's super funny.
Oh no.
But he's the one who kind of resembles.
Thank you. That probably would have taken a lot less time than it would have taken me
You can
to.
use both of them if you want to. You know, do your like.
Should be good.
We have other ones too.
What's that?
We have other ones too.
Oh, okay, you
We're
need
just in
to.
the car. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm gonna have some apple juice now.
Help yourself to whatever clementines you would like.
On the
Nice.
phone.
Thank you. It's okay to eat them. Where did I come in?
Just passing on other people's kindness.
What? How nice is that that I have do that. It's okay if you can't.
He was a pirate,
I fucking
and you
told
worked as
him.
a you
I
worked as,
told him this like 5 times. I'm like,
and
that
you worked as a
Blackbeard.
wench at a bar.
I worked as a
See,
wench.
Yeah, because a wench is just a serving maid, right? And you worked as a wench at a bar that was by the sea. You come in. Sometimes you maybe sailed with a bigger later, or you settled down with the kids. Yeah, he worked at a bar as a wench, and he was a pirate.
He was Blackbeard. I just like. Tell
He
me
looks more
Zach
like
is,
Johnny
look at
Depp in
Zach
this
for 2 seconds and tell
Pirates of
me
the Caribbean.
he is not Blackbeard.
Insufficient data for meaningful answer.
What?
Insufficient data for meaningful answer.
I think he looks like Blackbeard.
He looks
I
like
haven't met very many pirates.
You're
Like actual
You're
pirates.
Bristol, England.
Blackbeard.
I've gotten that.
I looked at Zach after
I think it's Johnny Depp more like
I was like, Zach is obviously Blackbeard.
I'm leaning towards that.
But did you work at the bar or something, and you were serving wench?
I just thought my relation. I just thought that I
I think you had 2 kids. It's near, looks like it's near Bristol, England. I don't know if it's by the sea, but
I'm sure it was great lifetime.
oh, he might have done. He was a pirate, but he might have done some whaling.
Might have been the best part of that lifetime. Where everything was crazy. At
Say,
least
what are your platforms? Do you want to share? There's a YouTube live going on.
he's definitely
I
liking-
don't have any concrete information. I have predispositions and inclinations that are very strong, perhaps from multiple courses, not just past lives, but also genetics to Egypt and Tibet and Lemuria. But I can't say I was a such and such person in such and such role with any level of
Right.
definite precision without trying to feel like I'm coming too much from my solar plexus.
Yeah. You're very good.
What I can say with a little bit of certainty is I was probably some kind of monk or scribe or something like that. Might have possibly taken like vows of poverty or something like that.
You were Alistair Crowley's stepson.
Get the
No.
Alistair Cowley.
Yeah.
Well, you just walked in and you look very integrated.
You look groovy.
He did it like that.
Well, I just saw like you're like very in your monadic presence. That's what we're all integrating and grounding in right now. It's like the
Where do you want?
But I got
higher self.
I'm
Am I
not
making you
really doing
uncomfortable?
the apple juice.
I didn't hear the very last bit of what you
Am I
said.
making you uncomfortable?
No. No, I'm actually getting more comfortable. I didn't hear the very last bit of what you said because of cross conversation.
I said we're grounding in like our higher self and the like, because all the twin flame stuff happened and then now it's like a full depth to that and now we're anchoring
That's
in our
fascinating.
soul family. You know?
Yeah.
And it's twin flame stuff, yes.
Just like that.
Did you get any on you?
That's why I'm
Brushing
freaking out
yourself
about
off?
my dream.
What happened in your dream?
I don't know, like
You should get closer next
Well, I suggest when you go to
Make
sleep
sure you
tonight,
get some on.
right before you go to sleep, your last thought should be an intention to please reveal to me the contents of the meaning of that. You know,
well, here was after 11/11, like a lot of us are like dream weavers, like
I like what I do.
to like
It's
enmeshed into physical reality.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to break down the food with all this like keep your mouth shut and chew? What kind of nonsense is that? How are you supposed to keep your mouth closed and chew?
There's no fun game to do something
Yeah,
to try,
I get
you
to
know.
the
I was
degree,
literally
take off.
It
Put
feels
in
like a
jump
lot
over, you know what I mean?
yeah.
better
And
than
then
anything else.
Chew is
Just
food.
like it's hot and
famous stuff
Chew food.
tonight.
Who's owed Lapis?
There's all
I think
sorts
there was
of
one who sacrificed tonight and gained knowledge and power.
Well, it gives you mastery of the throat chakra, which is mastery over language, which you can, instantly liberate.
So he sacrificed what to gain knowledge and power?
He sacrificed an eye.
An eye. Oh, okay. He's like a Viking.
Yeah, I ended up in this really
Yeah,
long
no,
conversation
like we.
with
Yeah,
this
yeah, I
like
left
nurse helping
Yeah,
this traumatic person,
No,
and then I
like
watched
they're
from
alright.
Lopez to here.
You just gotta put it on
My-
the outside for
My
the
uterus
corner.
is like really,
Because
really
I can look
low.
with these eyes on the
I
head
wear
and
those
say,
things and anytime I sit down, like I
Those are
can
kinda
feel
hard
it, like,
water.
crossing.
Regarding dreams,
All my organs
sometimes
are just kinda like-
I can't resolve something in waking life with someone. But
Yeah, no, it's a really like.
But sometimes it's just there,
Well, I mean,
but
you just like imagine like having
Um,
something there, then you sit down. And
I will try to address it in their dreams, so that's like after projecting in their dreams. the best is,
Right.
and this is really good for
Yeah.
the community too. If you're in the same space that they're sleeping in, then while they're dreaming, you can just meditate next to them or in the room somewhere, and you can interface with the dream. And there have been occasions where, like, literally, one of my friends had one of his crystals stolen, and then he ended up like half possessed, barely able to get out of sleep state. He was
Last
having
night
like
we just went to
all
sleep.
kinds of stuff going on, like
This is a
mini
little different.
seizures,
Kinda
shakes, sweats, all kinds of shit in his dream, but he was sleeping like 20
I
hours
was
a day.
asleep.
And so I heard this, and I
Actually,
went
might
over
wanna do
and I sat
a
next to him and
class.
meditated for like 45 minutes or an
Nice.
hour, and I fucking slew the demon who was
If
possessing
you want
me
to go,
in
she's
astral
awesome
space
teacher.
by
Who is it?
basically inserting myself into his
Taylor.
dream.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's curtains.
Her tongue good ball.
Curtains. Because yeah, our name was curtains too.
Yeah.
Not that was readily apparent.
I had another time this season
Uh,
I will. This time
Well,
it's
yeah,
actually
yeah,
going
yeah.
super slow.
How are you?
Last year I made myself do something every
Wow.
morning. This year, no.
He said,
Hey,
I'm
hey, what's up? What's your name?
Wildflower.
Wildflower. Hey, be here now.
You want to be here now?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
How did
Hey, her.
Yeah.
Nice Hanuman shirt. That's cool.
What's up, dude?
Sit there and drama.
Dude, I'm surprised I'm fucking
Who is it?
Mala.
Who's that? Who are you?
Like mine broke so fast.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Oh, it's Rachel.
Oh,
Hey, how are
Rachel.
you?
What is this stuff called again?
I feel like I'm on a situation.
Soma. Soma tea. It comes in little jars like this. Soma herbs.
They'll know it once I ask.
Yeah, and if it's in the same spot that it was, once you walk into the yoga studio, you know, and you have the gift shop right here.
Good.
At the very back of the gift shop, the shelf
How was
is
your day?
facing straight forward. It'll just be
Did it
more
work?
jars.
I
And
would
they're
hung out
$10 a jar. If
the
you
whole
could give me
fucking
3 of them, that'd be
Pretty
dope.
Where
And,
You want some apple juice?
Coffee and latte from it.
Yeah.
You want to share? Do you have
One
people to share
latte.
something?
Oh, nice.
I don't know if I ever seen that
I
before.
know where that
Oh, you're
is.
sharing with
Oh
us?
yeah, there is a bit,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what I sent.
Jimmy Rock.
So,
Are they
Is anybody?
I said,
There's,
something-
you guys have one
montages,
too, right?
which
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
might be some
One
kind of
for
attached
team
to
or-
entity, or it might just be
One
some
for
kind
team
of
or-
symbolism,
one swap.
but I sent
These
one
are
of the third
both?
eye.
Yeah.
On the left side is like here's the third eye. There's like kind of little, just one little thing like this that went out from it. That was just kind of like an area of stagnancy. You know, the solar plexus had like a thing going out from it on the left too. That was like a much larger area of stagnancy.
Should we meditate?
That's funny. I was thinking this room
And
right
then
not
those were the two that really stood out. And then maybe like 1/20th or 1/15th was powerful in terms of stagnation. It was just a general stagnation of like sound.
I just got a place today.
So definitely
I
solar
am
plexus
homeless
work on
anymore.
that. Bit more work on a bit on the third eye. Actually, your sacral was, I mean, really clear by comparison to how it used to be.
Relatively speaking, I was.
I don't know about you, but I
And then just like some general grounding through the legs.
That's your home.
Most of
Like
the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
Well, my physical body likes that.
I just like a bathtub.
Yeah, right. Or I like my altar.
Oh, no.
I like my altar space. Very warm and
Would
comfy.
you like to hold the solar plexus?
It's nice to have like altar meditation and yoga
Yeah.
space. That's like the most important thing.
Okay. Well,
And then like
the thing I want to
the, you
emphasize
know,
again is both the solar plexus
and
and
then
third
the
eye thing
kitchen
are on the
and the
left side, so it's a feminine aspect of these things.
Yeah. Dude, just taking baths is like so great.
Yeah, that's nice. But yesterday I took a shower and then I swam in the creek. I jumped in.
Hey Zach,
I jumped off a big rock.
or anybody, does anybody want a cheap month pass to Satnam Spirit Center?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Does anybody else want one?
Probably.
What kind of stuff happens there?
Awesome yoga stuff and some meditation stuff.
Yeah, they have a happiness meditation.
A happiness meditation and a deep Kundalini yoga meditation class. And then there's also a yin yoga class. And then there's 3 super awesome gentle yoga and Kundalini and Pilates classes.
I took the Kundalini class.
That's with the gentle with the Pilates and everything. Naomi, she's like a super special, awesome, amazing teacher.
Some ribbon chain as well.
She's
I told her that.
She's like
Yeah.
she's pretty lit. Got the light. Anyways, month. Yeah. I I could possibly find a month pass for some. I don't know if you're supposed to get them at the same time, but she'll probably swing something for me. But like,
Or are you gonna get a month pass?
I already got one, but like I spent 120 on one. But if I could have found somebody to go with me, I could have spent 90. But since I already spent 120, possibly like if somebody just wanted to come and would actually come and make use of it, could get them a pass for what is it, 90, 30, $60 for a month pass.
Wow, that's inexpensive. That's nice.
Yeah, I went a month without a month pass recently, and I was like, damn, that was a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Because it's so fucking good for me. It's so awesome.
You feel good after you did that course in the class, and I felt great afterwards.
Yeah, and it's like really amazing. It's very like good strength and force and.
I thought about getting a hot yoga pass.
I have one of those, and I have like 6 classes that I still need to take there, and I just don't ever go.
I thought about getting a monthly pass.
Naomi is like a super amazing special teacher. Yeah, I mean, I went to hot yoga. It's like hot yoga, yeah. But
It's kind of sucky.
really, if you want to go, yeah, it's
You almost pass out, but
brutal.
it really helps you. It's a lot of fun.
It's brutal when you're high on kratom and weed.
You get a shower afterwards, and you just shower
Yeah.
with your clothes on, and your clothes get clean. That should be called hippie yoga.
But how do they get dry?
Yeah,
It's
no,
right
you
near
turn-
the laundromat. So what you do is you just wash up, and then you just run up the laundromat really quick.
They would
You
not
take
be
some
happy
shitty
with
clothes
you
out of
at
lost
that.
and found and put them on really quick, and then you take your other clothes and throw them in the dryer. Because you clean them with soap, and you clean them by with soap, and then see, I've been a hippie kind of. It's not my first rodeo. And then you run down the street, and the laundromat's like 3 blocks away, half a block away, and you just get some crappy clothes that lost and found, put them on. And yeah, throw them right in.
Russell, I want to tell you too, but I heard that if you get a Snap Fitness pass with a homie, it would be like $30 a piece.
Oh my god!
Really?
I
Yeah.
would do that with somebody if they wanted to do it.
Yeah,
Rather than
Well,
fucking.
I just gotta play it
Rather
so I
than
don't need
50.
to snap.
Yeah, if someone wants to do that, I'm down.
I think it's something like that.
I'm down for all that stuff.
Good. I'm trying to get one in Cottonwood, but I'm getting this PayPal card
How
sent
did
to
your
me so
thing
I
go?
can do it,
What
and
thing?
this will be the third card. It just does not
Oh,
ever.
I get to go to court.
Yep.
Safe court.
Oh, I can't get in. I can only
And
send
I
money
really
on
need to
my
look and
account.
see when I need to go.
Yeah, I had a bank account.
I had a bank account.
But they said next week, I'm pretty sure.
Unless I'm a phone.
I need to look at the paper and double check.
Right, Jack. World's got Jack.
Yeah.
You want to
But I just got a place.
So
it's gonna wait.
I'd rather. I don't
I
really.
think I'm
Ease
Maybe I have a little
all my
cheese or
feelings
something
about
in a minute.
probation.
And how cool you're here.
And I really
Probably
think
a lot
that like
more
one of the
fun
things around Christmas
That
time
over there?
that they're
Yeah,
gonna like
I-
really.
I love him. I'll do what I can to help him, but I'm not
Yeah.
like holding
Some of the
space
more
about
muscle
it.
very level.
Yeah.
There's a point where
I've been
it
good
turns
for
into
it,
loving yourself.
as far as they know.
Yeah.
Which you did.
Or actually, I don't know. Maybe they know like, oh, this test looks like you've been
Yeah,
living, but
I mean,
not
it's like-
enough to actually see that you have. Maybe they've had quite a few of those. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Usually,
Pretty
those
much
are
like-
things I would like to go to and invite people
I just
to.
like-
Yeah, we're here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So it's not
don't.
any- Yeah, and
Been
it's
there
not
and
any-
like he's like
myself.
let's just say really dogmatic in some of his understanding. And that's made him not want to interface with other kinds of people. Yeah, and so like he never wanted to go to Unity and understood. And he's like really big on
Yay.
It's not for him. I'm just at least.
yeah. I might go by for sure. It's at like what 11?
10. Yeah. And then you're done about 11. Like when I started learning how to train myself, I was able to understand more what other people are going through and how bad they judge themselves.
Yeah, I got
Like,
I kind of figured it out.
I'm gonna take a shower. You want to hold this one in the shower?
It's all around. It's kind of obvious.
You guys are live streaming.
Do you want to
Like the t-shirts.
In a minute.
That's why you guys started doing that when I was
I'm
younger.
gonna.
It's not only have someone to share the joint,
Because other people could yell and scream at me, and I
he said it'd be cool to roll up to help.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna give him some more later.
I mean,
So-
if people yell and scream at me, like, I don't feel good. For
Well, he went back in the bathroom, so I guess I'll
So
do
you
it right
return
now.
something it comes down to. Well, I mean, for
Yeah,
loving.
he wants this. This is lapis.
It has nothing
Yeah.
to do with me.
Because you
I
never
was
know.
I don't want to take more of my
Wax is
stuff out.
lazuli.
Yeah, I don't want to take more of my stuff out, but I'll do that after. I clean myself.
Wow, I think I'm allergic.
To what?
I don't know, people.
I kind of have an allergic to bullshit, but
Because like my face is
Yeah. I'm gonna.
get some air.
We actually do have sensitive
My
nerves
spot.
in
It might be like
I'm not just being like
Thank you. Yeah.
It is also really warm in here.
really warm, and there are different humans in here that I'm having adverse reactions to. Ew. No, I'm kidding. I love all of them.
Nobody's human. Everybody's perfect. It's okay.
Yeah, but I am sensitive. I don't know. Are you gonna sleep together?
I have to go to work. I have to go cook at the Costco still. Because I'm leaving for the weekend. I'm going to make my food for work tomorrow. I got permission to go there and cook the bacon stuff.
I did work there.
Yeah, I call the South Kitchen. Oh, Lord.
Oh, which one's it?
No worries. And I'll be in there.
Good night. Sleep well.
Back on you. Calmer.
Sweet dreams of
No,
a
not the back, though.
And if we get bored, we'll fight.
Are you? Okay. It's okay.
I told myself I was going to ask you a question on a scale of Hanuhu to Jay Hanuman. How much do you like Hanuman? And I didn't have to ask the question, you just responded.
I have like my friend gave this shirt to me, and I really like it. It's colorful, and I think that it's strong spirit. But yeah,
Would you like a little more tea?
No.
Okay.
I appreciate it. I'm just trying to take care of my immune system.
You can crack the window.
Yeah.
You think that'll help?
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think I just need to go on.
Is it like your lymph nodes or what is it?
I think I'm just really sensitive
Emotion.
in general.
Yeah.
I think I have cleared enough stuff for my crazy life.
If you're sensitive in one area, you're probably sensitive in all sorts of ways. Wow.
I love you guys.
I love all
Good night.
Hi, Kyle.
I'm good and
Thank
lucid
you for
dreams.
being related back in our past life.
I'm good and lucid dreams. And may you remember.
Pirate man. He's so sweet. Thank you, Ninja.
Who's a ninja?
Look. Look at them all. I love like my homies back home that I grew up with, like my spiritual posts, because those are the little tidbits of information that kind of like get me direction. So now like I'm feeling their reactions, like there's a sense of curiosity there, interest. Yeah.
Is there someone in the bathroom or is the door just pulled?
I think she's shut.
You want a bird now?
I'm gonna go take a shower. real quick.
I'll give you more if you want to share the statement.
Do you mind if I use the restroom really?
Okay, do it quick.
Third person I waited on. Out of curiosity, what's the purpose of the stream? And yeah.
Yeah.
Cancel the thing. So, I don't know, I might just go take that stuff back or something, I don't know.
You can get some headphones for what you want.
Yeah,
You can make a sound for something.
yeah, that's true. This is true. I'm so tired of their salads.
We get
I want.
mixed
I mean, I just like
Make
I
your own
cook
thing.
really, really good, like really fucking good. I cook way better than even like most really good restaurants. You know,
Mhm.
like healthy
Yeah.
and stuff. And I just want to get done.
Yeah.
Well done. Hello.
Whose account is being streamed on anyhow? I'm curious.
Right here, yeah.
So I'll ask you then. What's the purpose?
It's to give people who feel like they may be going insane or not a place where maybe the topics of their heart might be discussed.
Okay.
So it's very broad.
Indeed.
Just playing it, meet a lot of people, and yeah.
So like, you know,
You could at any point in time find somebody that's like a mirror reflection of yourself. So we're just trying to find like people or content creators that attract like wisdom or metacognitive therapy behaviors, like give them a chance to get on the air, and then people will go to their channel. So this is almost like the rabbit hole, the video, but in this field you'll find content people that the viewer clicks with, and they'll follow them to another area. So it's kind of like a meeting board.
The real channels are called chans, and they're not found on YouTube.
Chance, you said?
I was talking to the video.
Oh,
Chans. I'll speak to you now, though. Chans, which is short for channel, but it's an entirely different kind of culture, and an entirely different way of exchanging information. And originally it was started like back in the 90s with something called 2chan, which was a Japanese image board. But by the early thousands, there was American image boards, and now there's like hundreds of them. But there's a lot of different things that are different about them. But you're like talking about how people can be introduced to certain concepts in certain channels, and it's like the real chans are not found on YouTube. Actually, YouTube officially started removing people's accounts that they deemed not monetizable a couple months ago. So
it's just a collaboration project for me to collect data. It's not really
you and the NSA too.
Yeah,
That's a joke.
Yeah. It's just kind of like a way to look off my own soundboard to just see what like reflects back at another point in time.
Yeah. Anyhow, I'm gonna take this shower real quick.
That's even better.
Who's got a lighter? Oh, yeah. Oh, hi, Kaya.
Yeah, hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
That's why we're here. What happened to your sword? Magic Cat has it. It's in his van. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to think who that was.
I'm like, somebody put it in just in case.
Do you have a lighter? I think who's smoking is me, you, Jeremy, Rachel. So she's starting.
None of these people are dangerous. Like, people are going through stuff, but no one's dangerous.
I just know what it's like to meet personal space.
People just need heart feelings, you know, and I think when they
Reminds me of
also be less like to say like, what is right, what is wrong, you know? That's a lot of it.
Would you like what I was paying?
Well, I know I gotta go to here, but
I love you, it's always
yeah, thank you so much.
Before you go.
I'm alright.
I don't need to be attached to anyone or anything, and that's a fact. And I don't need to be attached to anyone or anything, and that's a fact. And I don't need to be attached to anything, anyone. It will not
Yeah, I gotta get
satisfaction.
Oh yeah.
Will not bring satisfaction.
Oh yeah.
I need to be be unattached from everyone and everything. I need to be strong. I need to be strong in myself. I do not need to be attached to anyone. A person, place, or thing. It will not bring satisfaction. I do not need to be attached to anyone. I'm strong.
Non-attachment. If you give up something, you get a better something. If you take a dump, you get to take a different dump later. So don't be attached to taking a poop, Jeremy. Or unattached.
I'm gonna talk to Richard for just a moment. I'll be out.
You need to be attached to anything, Russell.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, awesome. You're comfortable. Okay. This is a mental health channel, so I just want to talk to the person that's staying. You're staying here. How come you're not going out and smoking pot?
Well, because I decided to surrender, and when you surrender, you just say yes to everything. And they didn't say, Russell, come out and smoke pot.
That's not what surrender means.
Well, all right, fine. You tell me what it means.
I think it's a little bit more calculated than just saying yes to everything. Because I've done that, and it didn't work. It has.
Well, I couldn't.
But
I
you
couldn't
learn
drive the
shit that
getaway
way
car.
too, because you learn I don't know. If you're spiritual and you have a light, then you've dealt with psychological warfare often. Where stuff is like this or this, and then you just get confused. So surrender has to do with the heart more, and letting the
Yes, I agree.
letting the stuff go.
Yes, you're exactly right.
Which is why.
Okay, make it to the store in time.
Yes, you will.
All right.
Bye.
Love you.
Goodbye. Have a nice night. Have fun at work.
I think surrender is just surrender to the pain.
Yes, you're right. I can do that.
And feel it somehow.
Yes, I agree exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Hi, Ben. How are you? Welcome to my show. I guess it's really your show because we're taping, but you left, so I took over. I'm kidding.
No, my show is anybody can come on, anybody can take over. I'm nothing, the fight to talk about mental sanity and things like that is beyond me.
Well, let's just cut in 25 words or less. I can explain mental illness to you. There's no such thing as crazy. There's just an incapacity to integrate experiences.
Incapacity to integrate experiences.
If you don't medicate people, they can eventually integrate, and you help them, give them some support. They can integrate their experiences.
Oh my God! I'm glad
There's
you
no
said
crazy. I mean, that's shamanistic versus Western medicine. But in Western medicine, you make money off keeping people sick or suspending their illness, their mental illness or physical illness. And it's a huge industry because everyone in my family is part of that. So I know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's more than 25 words.
Yeah, I respect you for knowing that.
Maybe it's 125 words. Whatever. But yeah, there's no such thing as crazy. There's just incapacity to integrate. And if you give people what they used to do in Japan with people that they thought were crazy, is they'd leave them by a river and come back 2 days later, or 2 or 3 days later, and they'd be fine because the water, the energy in the water would wash their stuff out.
Dude. Just trying to see what kind of funky views we can get.
The feng shui of the river would clear out their insanity.
So that's sort of the treatment Wim Hof is using for his friends. With Wim Hof, you go out into the cold for
paleo.
Days and days and days.
Is that the paleo guy?
Wim Hof is a guy who climb Mount Everest in just a bathing suit?
Yeah, and you go swimming in really cold water. I go swimming in really cold water too. Because as a psychic, you have to swim in the water. You get other people's energy on you, and you have to go swimming and get it off of you.
That's genius.
Well, when I was on the road for 4 years working as a tarot card reader and psychic, I would live in towns that had rivers or that were by the ocean or had, beach showers. And if you jump in cold water is really good, but salt water is good too. It absorbs emotions that other people got in you. Because when you're psychic, there can be energetic transference. In fact, it's kind of understood that has to happen to be a psychic. You actually have to. I can see people's cords between them, and I'll form a cord between my third eye and other people. The other thing I do is, if I hold people's hands, then I'm tasting of their energy, right?
Oh.
Like this. Like, take your hands like this. Okay. And put this hand here. And you have free will, right? You don't have to do anything. Listening. So let energy come out here and receive energy here. Looks like you're thinking about getting more of a stable job that gives you more money, but it's really not what you want to do. Because you're worried that women.
No, it's none of that.
Really? Because a lot of it's a breakup stuff and personal success.
Because for me personally, I have 3 jobs. So I'm just actually kind of having fun, like risking and being like, one of my jobs, this might be way too out there because I work at a rehab.
Yeah.
This is probably too open of a stream of like talking and putting yourself in these kind of situations.
Oh, you want to do this
for me? Yeah, for me to be like a mentor at a rehab facility. So they're probably gonna say goodbye to me, but I can still do Lyft or work at a coffee shop. And meanwhile, we're just bringing creative content users together that want our board. We have 0 lobbyists talking about which way, like talking to me in my ear right now, like tell them to deny climate change. Tell them to deny.
It's so surreal. Change. It's like freaky. No one can grasp it, except for Greta Thunberg. Anyway, she's only in her upper 3 chakras or chakra. She's Swedish. A lot of Swedes are Palladians, Nordics. Anyway, so the gig is that they were there when we flooded Atlantis. So good shit. Anyway, the gig is that you could do this thing. There's a psychologist who just meets his clients in coffee shops, and he talks about all this stuff. He's one of those people. I told my buddy years ago. He writes about tantric sex, and I said, "What should the title of my book be?" And I said, "The name of your book should be called Fuck My Book." And he didn't do it. And then maybe 3 or 4 years later, people came out with titles that had the word "fuck" in it, with like, and they all went to number 1. And I was like, "Son of a bitch!" But so he writes books on tantric sex. Anyway, this guy is a psychologist, and he goes to coffee shops and talks to his clients. And that's what I like to do when I was on the road. I like. I just said, instead of doing a psychic reading, let's go in the coffee shop. I'll buy a coffee because it's kind of fun. And then as a psychic, you don't have all these shackles. And it was just in a movie I saw. This guy quit being a cop because he said with structure, there's shackles. So maybe you need to realize you need to play with the Myers-Briggs, the J versus P.
I'm ENFP, yeah, but
I'm an INFP.
Oh, nice.
So you're P, so you don't like the judgment, like the structure that comes with those jobs. So maybe you need to push it over to actually be a P. And not worry about, because when I worked donation only, I made like, $50 a day or $120 a day, but it was plenty. And I got to travel and I went to South America and Mexico. So maybe you need to not worry about structure, because that's what it said is that you hate some of your work, but you're like, realize you're thinking about trying to make more money, but you realize it's stupid. Deep in your heart, it's stupid. There's something about that.
That's pretty good. I'll tell you, just because I know you'll give me good feedback. Like right now, I want to work as little as possible so I can dedicate myself to learning like fundamentals in music and art.
Nice.
Yeah, those are things that interest me. I know that interest me my whole life. So things like this girl or that girl or like this job for this time, that's not as interesting to me. It's like, can I kind of sit down for 2 or 3 hours a day and like scribble or film?
I tell you, last summer, I didn't have a lot of money during most of the summer. And there were times that I did what I loved. And I would find I would have no money, right? But like when I was doing what I loved, like once a week, I'd find a $20 bill because I was doing what I loved. You know what I mean?
So
I'm saying is if you do what you love, it's kind of a byproduct that things come your way, resources or funds or whatever. And you gotta, it's like the title of the book, do what you love and the money will follow. So you gotta maybe work with that. You go beyond commitment.
to do that. But you might even want to travel around and just have discussions about consciousness or film discussions about consciousness on your YouTube channel or whatever.
Yeah, Sedona's a good place for that.
In Moab and Boulder and all sorts of places, right?
Yeah, camping and film people. But they don't always have the internet. I'll have to find something that's besides live streaming.
But the gig is, the psychologist, he would meet clients at coffee shops. So I thought about just going out instead of being a scientist, a tarot psychic reading, just science is consciousness, talks about consciousness, and then just talk to people about, whatever weird shit we come up with. Because some of my clients would start telling me things and giving me readings and telling me weird shit.
Oh, dude, there's this girl I know, and she's a professional cuddler. And, the psychic, trance I get out of that type of interaction, with that, who that person is, and getting intimate and feeling that kind of touch, that transcends my body and, puts me in a lot of relief and soars me to this kind of more etheric realm. It's pretty brilliant. Just that touch.
How old are you?
29.
Can I tell you something? Should I be frank? You need to. It's a corny thing to say. You need to go swimming in the lake of you. You need to deal with your shit now, because you're in your Saturn return. You're 29. You need to deal with your shit and not even worry about money or success or whatever. Because when I held your hands, I said you hated bookkeeping, but you thought about having a job like bookkeeping so you make more money.
Bookkeeping? I would never want bookkeeping.
Exactly, because you said you hated it.
Wait, what is bookkeeping? I don't even know what it is.
Bookkeeping?
Yeah. Is that keeping a budget?
For companies and stuff, doing their accounting.
I don't think you and I ever had that conversation.
I know.
Never said the word bookkeeper.
No, but the deal is that in some ways you were saying that it was felt like you just, what I got was that you thought you needed more money.
What you got and what the truth is seem to be two different things now.
Well, it can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then we got to tread carefully and.
Yeah. Well, no psychic will say they're 100% accurate.
Because you've talked a lot about my job or jobs, but I haven't. So at this point, I've listened to all you said. You've given me some really great feedback. Well, we're getting to the point where it seems like you're going to cut yourself off from all the good work you've done because you're saying things now that aren't aligned. So I think we should just maybe cut it there on the work and let me say for a moment that I love my work.
Nice.
Yeah.
But is it kind of structured?
Is it clear? No, it's not clear. Yeah. It's sort of ubiquitous. It's here and there. And,
this moment. Say you're a P. P. The P is perceiving it. That's people that don't like structure.
Perceiving. So what do you mean by structure? Like a typical work? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm probably yelling than that.
Well, the opposite is judging, right? Yeah. And the difference.
The opposite is non-dualism.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the opposite, but the reality is non-dualism. But okay, in the Myers-Briggs, right? Judging versus perceiving. People that are judging like structure. They like deadlines. They like holidays. They like structure and order. They're the people that invented death. They're the ones that said this is.
I feel the need to speak up as the resident Capricorn who is all about Saturn and structure supposedly and stuff like that. And I want to say that I have a really easy time just letting the universal flow take care of its thing. There's a higher structure than the one man can possibly impose, and that's the structure of the heavens. And that seems very non-structured compared to the perspective of what people conceive this thing is on Earth.
Okay, thank you.
No form is the I like the sound of your voice.
Thanks.
Whereas people that are perceiving they don't like structure as much.
It's because they're more kind of dreaming because it's a perception thing, as opposed to actually the word judge means to evaluate or to discern particularly. So I see this and I know what it is. That's judgment.
Nice.
As opposed to perceiving is just well, there's these things that I am perceiving, these things that are coming into me that I am noticing, but I do not declare, I have not recognized what it is, and it's just there's these things.
Nice, thank you.
Could you hand me that knife over there real quick?
Yeah.
The TV remote. With on the Myers-Briggs, whether it was perceiving or judging, and after a couple years of cultivating myself, I started flipping back and forth between introvert and extrovert. And then there's this guy in town named Jan. You've probably met him. He dresses usually in all white. He's like late middle aged. Anyhow, he does muscle testing and some other stuff, but he works a lot with the Myers-Briggs, and we did this thing where we were doing muscle testing to figure out what the MBTI I had, or rather, what the muscles of my body, getting a mind out of it entirely, what the muscles of my body said I am. Am I thinking? Am I perceiving? Am I judging? Am I intuitive? Am I introverted? Et cetera, et cetera. And I'll say, it's been a long time since I took a test, but I seem to strike home more than the other ones, at least. So. I have this smoking blend with like mullet and a few other herbs, like not tobacco. Smoking blend. That's a little mini grinder for $5. Yeah. I need a grinder. The police never gave me my grinder. They gave me my pipe back. My grinder. Would anyone care to join me for round two?
I felt like saying, please, but no. Come take a go.
Sound.
That's fun.
You pick after Kundalini. Right.
I think there's. I might have been slower.
Slower.
one of these out, and it does not the same.
Humans are crystals. I used to have this large piece of obsidian, and I went swimming with it. I took it to hot springs, and I talked to crystals and rocks a lot. This large piece of obsidian told me that humans are crystals. And I said, what do you mean? Well, look, you're made of water and calcium, and you're just a large water calcium crystal.
Disability.
Irreducibly complex.
Irreducibly complex. That's brilliant. I hope that explains the music on me. That'll be the constant.
Yeah.
It feels like that at times. The reason I really good together.
We're more than just the type of crystal that brother here was saying, though. We're crystals composed of 12 different things. Potassium phosphate, sodium sulfate, potassium chloride, calcium fluoride, magnesium phosphate, potassium sulfate, sodium phosphate, calcium sulfate, silicon dioxide, which is what crystals are actually made out of, silicon dioxide. We are also made up of calcium phosphate, sodium chloride, and iron phosphate. And together, all of these with water create a solid-state water crystal that these other things are bound by the electromagnetic cohesive properties of the water into the form that we have, and allows us to transmit the energy, the electricity of our soul through our body, through our nervous system, and many other biochemical systems. I also brought some treats.
You are a tree, man. You the tree.
I wanted to pull out my crystals while everyone was here, but I want to take a shower first, and now half the people are gone. Who wants some coconut water?
I do.
Who doesn't want a lime one?
What would you like?
Nothing. Nothing.
Love.
Coconut water?
No, thank you, but thank you.
I'm gonna do all that stuff. I'm gonna finish this out there. Just want to get a little water.
Oh, I see him again. What are you doing, man? Nothing he does.
This is my son. He's my son, man.
I didn't know that. Strong man. It's a strong, smart
I just thought of the reality show, okay? You ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
So this is the show, guys. We're all homeless and we're all jobless. And we post videos right here, okay, of our life and our struggle. And businessmen try to be like, look, your life's miserable. We're going to give you a job. And you're going to come do this job. Let's just say a 2-week training or 2-month training, right? Could be more, could be less. And they go there and they train you in this elaborate shit, like try to impress you with all that. Like you must love your luscious lifestyle. And then you get challenged to say if you come back here, you know, where we live in this spiritual Sedona where like it's a vortex of just enough, you know, serve one another, be served. And we get to kind of show the people that follow our show, like, which would you rather have, the job that pays or live in a place that, you know, paves ways? And it would be really cool because someone like Russell or Jeremy or Zach will get then their own show where you can follow another station where you're like, hey, look at Russell go, you know, whatever would be perfect. Where would you like to go work, Russell? Who would like to hire you, you think? Who should want to hire you?
The WWF. And I'll be the psychic wrestler. I'll just stand in the corner like this, and people are like, no! Oh, no!
They ring the bell, like, they're crawling to the bell.
And then I'll say something like, I find your lack of faith in me disturbing.
Would you like some more?
Sure. And then they'll be pinned on the mat, and I'll just be in the corner doing like this.
I forget your name, bro.
Sagan.
Sagan?
Think of Carl Sagan.
Sagan. Gotcha.
And what was your name again?
Be here now.
Oh, Benjamin. Be here now.
Benjamin, that's another one. I just like be here now today.
Yeah, because your name is Ben. Be here now.
Yeah, been here. Sagan? Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Ben here now.
Ben here now.
Ben here now.
Ben here.
That's why you're touching your
this
ear.
button thing. I think I should take it out now.
Ben
It's serving me really well.
exists.
That's what was in your ear.
It's
Ben exists now.
I found it.
Ben exists now.
Me and Mia were looking for you.
Ben exists now.
Ben.
Ben exists now.
Oh, so
Being exists now.
we were like, okay, if someone were to hire you, Sagan, and it's the perfect dream job, or it's the job where they think you'd be the perfect at, but they hire you, you know, where would you go train for a few months?
Where would I go train, or what would I do, or what would the company be like, or what are you really asking? Well, I mean, I want to start off with I would be paid in trade, possibly gold, but most likely varying forms of
That's
trade.
all I'm doing.
Honestly, I like doing the pay karma forward thing, where I just do the good works and let the karma come back to me, and I don't have to worry about sending and receiving karma for one person or like one job.
You know, one candidate that I really support, Andrew Yang, forget about his normal wants to give everybody $1,000 a month, but in his books, he also talks like, as a culture, we could be in this sort of karma service number thing. You know, to evolve off the economy, we could have our
Well,
dollars.
I mean, if we were just
exactly
using
what
our
you're saying.
resources, if we were using our resources prudently,
But I'm saying,
like, there would be no economic crisis. There would be abundance for 20 billion people or more. But we're not using our resources right, and the good people don't really care enough because, as it was said way back in the times of Plato, the penalty a good man pays for indifference on public affairs is to be ruled by evil men.
yeah.
And so therefore, like, people have to actually actively care about what's going
I
on.
think it's really
And then when you do that, you can fix the problems, but people
You know,
generally
it's
don't.
just
And
like-
so, like, that point
It's you get something you don't have to be attached to.
But to try to answer your question
I can always go
about, like, what my perfect job would be or what someone would hire me for the perfect job, is that your question?
It was a longer story than that. I feel like I owe you the details because I asked you the question.
Okay.
It was.
Yes, that would be super cool because it would be.
We want to put you to the test, okay?
Yes.
We see your life here. We don't want to give you a much better life, but we want to give you a different
people
life.
and our
And you're going to go try it for
friends.
2 weeks or 2 months.
We-
Russell's going to go to the WWF because that's where he thinks he would be a hit. You know, he'd have his own show where he's on this mission. You're Sagan. Maybe you're in just Sedona, but, you know, for the sake of thought, I'll just get to know you better. Where it would be like a complex, hilarious world.
I could also go with
Where?
trouble.
Like, but
Where
it's
in
like,
mind?
Oh, okay. I was like, where? I'm like, where Earth was my first answer, but in my mind.
You know, I mean, that's basically the model.
I'm not sure I know you're asking for
Rich has
complex
his own
in my mind.
like.
yeah.
I thought you were asking about like a job
Yeah,
or
I
some
know,
kind.
yeah.
The guest will
I don't
be like so and so.
Yeah.
But we'll put
It's
it
just
off
it was a really hard question to
Yes.
where we
ask in the sense
Yes.
that I
And they can
wasn't
stay
you
for
weren't
as long
here for the
as
beginning of it, so it's in this little bit of shift that's not really fitting in our skip right now. So just forgive me for asking that question. It was a little off-timely and confusing.
I forgive you. I don't think there's anything to forgive. Pique my curiosity. Go on if you like, but if you want to terminate, that's cool. Do you want to take a look at some of these crystals regardless?
Wait, give me a second. Okay.
Yeah, let me keep looking at here and play guitar. You want to talk about that?
You go. You want? I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. Here.
Thank you. I'll give you a compliment. I live by.
Good.
about us getting a house and making it a temple to where we can have things like this. Not like even a regular basis, but like knowing that we can, like when we need to like cook food for everybody and like we can invite people over, but also like have the rooms open for like Airbnb. But supporting this thing that they're renting, and they get to be a part of it, like have a real experience. And this video like shows what it's doing. And like more of these videos in the house.
Did you ever see Shadow House? Teal Swan. I petitioned her to be on the show, and they have this house with 10 people, and every episode they work on the shadow. They live in the house,
Yeah.
and people are bringing food and stuff. And was doing it. She was part of the people in the house. And one of the episodes, one of the people tried to kill themselves. So I was like, I got to be on the show because I'm working on my shadow anyway. So I sent her an email saying, look, I want to be on the show. I want a modest stipend. I want fuzzy bunny slippers, and I want kung fu lessons and room and board. And she telepathically messaged me and she said, well, that's funny, but we don't have room for people on the show. So we could do something like Shadow House, but maybe even positive stuff too. Everyone works on their shadow and works on their positive.
Yeah.
We eat food.
Good. Sometimes it's like, okay, so I'm a very positive. A lot of times that would mean like you don't look at the problems. You know, you're always so positive because you don't look at the reality of things. That's why on my show I enjoy looking at problems and problem solving to help balance out that shadow class positivity. So, with a positive spirit. So I'm embracing what you say.
I like hours.
I feel like that is really cool. I oftentimes need others to help me with the work.
Ice cream's good for you.
We all.
It's a nice piece of canoe.
Amber is much lighter
Together
in
we
color.
need to say
Closer to this, honestly.
It's got stuff in it.
So we can test like as a culture, you know, like is this food healthy? Where are we getting this food from?
That's nice,
Constant
that's a
how
nice
we
piece.
eating all the food, making it, we feel divine coming out. So that's what's going in, what's coming out as parents, you know, we taste it before we feed it to our kids and then do the data analysis. How does it help our organs, things like that. Yeah. We use the most advanced technology to live the simplest life. And so we get to know about our health really easily.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about how he probably knows a lot of that stuff already.
I do. I've been studying the biochemistry of life and how that ties in to disease and manifestation, vitality, and fertility and stuff like that for years and years now.
And you said you were a scribe. So
I said probably something like that because like I love books and reading.
Dude,
I thought maybe we get the crystals from.
I didn't even take the big one out yet. I was just setting up.
It's hard to get all you guys in there.
I'll stick it there.
Nice. What is that crystal?
It's a slightly smoky crystal quartz with a small iron deposit. You've seen this before, haven't you?
My first time holding it. Slightly streaky crystal quartz.
It's smoky quartz, but it's only slightly smoky.
Oh yes.
Like this is smoky quartz, and this is like a lot blacker looking, darker, occluded.
This feels great.
Yeah, all of these do. I put a lot of effort and cultivation and care into the crystal medicine. Oh, and I still have a couple more. Let's see. And I have my selenite still in my bag. The selenite is right here. Can I get that lapis from you, brother? I didn't want to break your yoga pose. You know, I've actually meditated around people that have been like doing it for like 30 or 40 years. When they're doing their like mudra or whatever, it's like it's so powerful that you can feel it. Like your body naturally wants to curl into whatever form they're like doing the mudra in. Because their field's just so powerful because they've ingrained that pathway into their aura.
Right, and their cellular structure and everything. I'm utilizing that more.
I went to one church one time, and they said the only there's one type of dogma tradition out there that's teaching the Hugh. You guys know HU?
What do you mean, Hugh?
In Eckankar, their only tenant is you for 10 or 15 or 0 minutes a day. But if you want to do something to help yourself, chant Hugh for like 10 or 15 minutes.
Just like repeatedly, or like long, or what?
All of those, like it could be whichever you want.
Any combination thereof.
So I think it's good to kind of balance our breaths together, you know, exhale, inhale at the same moment. So you guys want to have a minute Hugh?
Yeah. It's like only.
Exactly. This one's called the Soul's Love Song to God, and I think it seems to be a little bit more related to the third eye. So, you know, maybe this will help activate our third eye for intense dreams or psychic visions.
Okay.
Yeah, self-esteem.
Maybe we can do 3 deep breaths together first.
Do you want to lead that?
Sure, like an ancient.
Good evening.
Sorry.
Go make ourselves comfortable here.
I often will rest with that in my lap. It's a very good spine.
They were just huge.
The top of the spine and the base of the spine, extra powerful spots. But so too the midpoints of the foot and hands are really powerful spots.
Genius.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you for remembering that, sharing it. Hey, maybe we should get the dog's nervous system toned down. Think we can do it with just our chanting?
Do what? If we're persistent enough.
Tone down the dog's nervous system.
Oh, it'll relax.
Okay, let's try that.
What about like a really grounding syllable? Raw, like raw.
I think almost any manner will work.
Yeah, intention, mind. Yeah.
Well, and also the as long as you're doing something with the vocal cords to vibrate the vocal cords, they're acting as technically the word would be a carrier wave for the intention, which is the amplitude variations of the wave as it's going on, not the length of the wave, but how much it goes up and down within that length.
Let's go with that. Little.
I'll listen to that again. I'm interested in the carrier wave, the amplitude wave, the carrying.
The amplitude of the wave and the carrier wave, but now we're getting way off topic and kind of getting out of the Om space. Would you like that? When you get better at oming with other people, you can start to harmonize your voices, and it's kind of like the multi-tonal thing where they resonate at just the right frequencies to reinforce each other, and it gets extra powerful.
Let's try that again in a few minutes.
Yes, in a few minutes, perhaps.
There's some good water going around.
Right, too?
Is it just regular chocolate tree water, or is it like alkalized?
Yeah, it's like, you know, maybe there's probably a few brands better than it, but like, there's a lot worse.
Almost take you to the spring, man.
Somebody who researched bottled water told me that this is the best like buy out there in terms of like alkalized. But you know, we were living in Rhode Island, so it's not as bottled water isn't as commercial there.
There's like water is kind of like a mini big industry here in Sedona. Like there's like 4 or 5 places that like water, different kinds of water is their thing, like storefronts.
Yeah, right.
I mean, let's turn it towards you. That's such an interesting topic.
Yeah, people in Sedona are really concerned with the quality of the water, I guess. I mean, like high pH alkalized water do that easily with high pH water, but like other stuff like eating a high alkaline diet, stuff like that, really changes the physiology a lot.
Interesting. I completely agree.
I mean, bottled water is definitely not bad. It's actually pretty good for bottled water. But like, you know, When you've been up a mountain and you're drinking the spring straight, it's a little different.
You're right. Yeah, one of the water stores, that was the first place I got a CBD joint out of. And that, you know, they had all those kind of magnets with the sacred geometry that were to help like radio waves and things like that come into your axis. So I thought the water spot was cool. There's a shout out to John. John's out there. John and his sister working at the water store. Hubby. Thanks for that good water.
So I packed up most of my stones because I didn't want the dog running them over, but I left a few of them out at any of them, but I'll talk about a few of them if you like. You've been fascinated with that one, so I've just been letting you have your fun.
Thank you. Like it.
So that's called calcropyrite. It's a variation of pyrite, which normal pyrite is iron. Well, it's FeS2. Sorry, yeah, FeS2. So 1 iron and 2 silicon. And this is a variation of pyrite, which it's the prefix is literally the Greek prefix for bronze, and you can see it looks a little bit more bronzy than regular pyrite, which is more gold-ish looking.
Good weight to it.
But it's a combination. It's a CuFeS4. So 1 part copper, 1 part iron, 4 parts silica. And it's kind of like pyrite, but it's a lot more like fundamental primal, like grounding kind of to the body, because it's the copper, which is Venus, and the iron, which is Mars, come together with 4 parts silicon. And you can actually see in this one a little bit that there's bigger samples in some of the other ones that I didn't choose. You have like these little white areas, which are just the silicon. I mean, there's also silicon like microscopically scattered throughout there as well, but sometimes there's like little micro quartz veins in the thing.
This is a typical night over here.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Music and meditation. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, our friends are over. We got music going on. Yeah.
How's it going at our house, Justin?
I don't know. I haven't been over there for the past hour and a half or so. It seems good.
Nice.
Yeah. Is that in like a certain key or something? Sure.
Probably says on the bottom.
Maybe it's written in Japanese.
I don't know. Let me see.
Whose guitar is this?
Oh, it's my brother's. Comes from a friend. Comes from the brother of a friend. Yeah.
Do you know if that's any
It's
certain
a friend's guitar.
Yeah, it's KFC.
Thank you, Tanner.
KFC.
Tanner, check this out, man. How's geology school, bruh?
It's the Kiwios.
Look at that. Come on,
If it had a
view,
lettering
man. We got a
rating
little
on it, I would
microscope
expect
right
it would have
here.
been katakana, but
Boom.
there are no
Look at that.
katakanas there. That's all just kanji. So it's probably the name of the maker or something like that. Maybe it's a blessing. I don't know.
Let's say Himalayan blessing.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know if that's the brand though.
Come look at the view I made for the camera shot. Yeah.
It's like a lot bigger. on the
Microscope. Oh, that's pyrite. Very grounding.
Calcropyrite.
Calcropyrite. Looks like bronze, heavy. You know, it's like
I don't know how well it'll come out on the
if you
camera,
found
but
this,
this is
you would know
regular pyrite.
it feels different. It's heavier than it looks.
This is regular pyrite. I don't know if it'll come out on camera, but you can distinctly see the difference in person.
Regular
Aside from the
pyrite.
shape, obviously.
Yeah, we used to see these in the Rocky Mountains. And no, not in bricks like this or nuggets like that. It wasn't as clear. It had specks. You know, we'd find it a lot, and the kids would love it.
Someone's
Stay
coming.
home. Hi, is that?
We're married.
Oh,
I just had a whole vision of this thing. It was crazy.
yay! Love is good. Praise love. Praise love. So we have pyrite here, we have calcro pyrite. Fool's gold, right? Fool's gold. We the fool if we don't think it's gold. Piece of Mother Earth.
If it's locked, there would be.
Sagan, do you want to speak to us about significance of crystals to you? You know, like what is it that amazes you about crystals the most, or an overlooked anything you'd like to speak about crystals?
Well, I will speak about some experiences and some things I've learned about them, but let's just say its essence doesn't care what I believe in things. It doesn't care what anyone else believes or thinks because it is what it is. So, on a very physical level, crystals have an electromagnetic effect, which is whenever the crystal structure, the crystal lattice, is deformed in any way, which could be as simple as a sound wave or a light wave, or temperature or anything like that, much less actually pressing it physically, like putting it under something or holding it in your hand. These things will change the magnetic field. What caused whatever the crystal is composed of, predominantly silicon dioxide and other stuff. Well, there are crystals that are other kinds, like these are iron crystals, the pyrites. There's a magnetic field, which is a particular kind of magnetic field, which attracts the element or elements into a particular crystal structure, because that's the way the magnetic field aligns it. And so, as a result of the matter being cohered that way, the matter also reinforces out the pattern that created it back outward aurically, which, if there are these elements in life that is its magnetic force of that element will attract and empower that particular sub-aspect. So, like, these are made out of iron. There's iron in all kinds of parts of our body, but most notably, it's in our blood. And so, all kinds of iron crystals stimulate the blood. It's just how it works. It resonates with the iron that's in us. But there's also other aspects in which this is used in as well. Not just in the blood to do what it does there, but because iron is an electrically charged metal. It has certain types of things that it also does within us, and these help stimulate that aspect of our body. But also because of the mirroring of the energy that comes into form, there is a feedback loop between the two natures, between the body and the soul, if you will. And so the crystals also have this energetic, non-physical component that is subtler than the mere electromagnetic field which originally cohered it, that essence it radiates. In the same way that the electromagnetic field, in its particular alignment with iron or copper and iron or whatever, aligns with us.
The spiritual energy I'm inspired. Like electricity. I'm inspired.
The more energy that you can put in an area, and if you put then a crystal in that area where you're concentrating the energy, the crystal's field will become amplified. And it won't just be a temporary amplification. It will become permanent part of the crystal. And in the future, it will continue to grow and unfold and be stronger in its essence, in its ability to change. And at a certain point, if you continue to cultivate these energies, they will actually start to change the physical structure of the crystal itself. And it'll start to grow new features on scales that were typically thought to be impossible for a human to observe. Mineralogists say that minerals take thousands or 10,000s or even hundreds of thousands of years to form something like this. However, theoretically, if you had an intense enough field, you could grow it in a scale of years, possibly shorter. I've done ceremonies with my crystals, and they've obtained new features, typically rainbows, but sometimes other features, like this one's iron deposit doubled in like a 3-hour ceremony. Where did the fucking iron come from? I don't know. The ether, apparently.
Yeah, it's been suggested that you could actually grow crystals big enough to be houses for people.
Yeah, I'm getting to stuff like that. It's really interesting engineering with the crystals, but you have to find ways to cultivate these energy fields, which are very subtle, and most people mistake the physical form for what creates the physical form, and would just want to push around molecules, and that's the really hard way of doing it. The easy way to do it is to create the attractive principles which are associated with that matter, and then it will attract the matter to you, or when strong enough, will actually cohere the matter from pure energy from pure cosmic energy into physical matter. But that's like a lot of energy. That's like, probably levitating yogi master tier. A lot of energy.
So if you talk to the crystals, they might actually tell you what processes work best.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, conscious co-creation with anything helps.
Conscious co-creation.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, it doesn't use English. It's not intelligent. It's like there's other ways to communicate. Have you ever tried sending images, sending feelings, receiving? Like a whole other faculty of intuition.
Yes. Thank you. You share with our love for 3 minutes. Music, love, power, passion, prosperity to whoever's in us. Sending our love to Crystal homes to all.
So I was talking to this guy who lives in Crestone, Colorado. If you don't know about Crestone, Colorado, you should probably check it out. It's
I've been there.
an interesting place.
I've been
There's a lot of farm people.
Isn't that the town that you have to like jet ski or snowmobile in the winter there? It's like
Probably.
it's isolated enough. You only one road snowmobile.
I mean, probably the whole town's only like 3 blocks long. But anyhow, this old guy who was living out there told me that he had this crystal that was like a single point, like this big, and he said that he buried it in his yard. And 10 years later, when he dug it up, it was a double terminated crystal. It was a double terminated crystal that was like the same diameter, but now had 2 points, whereas when he buried it, it just had 1 point. Wow. And that happened only in a 10-year period. And he wasn't even trying to do that. He just put it in as a land blessing. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I met a Russian guy at the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show who showed me all these crystals that he grew at a rapid pace and some kind of scientific thing. Yeah, if you go to the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, you can meet all sorts of funky people. And courtside, you can meet all sorts of funky people to talk to about crystals.
Can I see the copropyrite? The circular one.
Yeah, I think Zach and I are hoping to maybe get a bandwagon or a train going down to the Gem and Mineral Show. So maybe there's some way.
Ooh, I'm on board.
I don't know what tickets are. I don't know what a place to sleep would be, but in
from
2
what
weeks
I've
we
seen,
can start talking about it.
From what I've seen, tickets are free.
Wow.
They might like ask for $1 or something, but it's mostly just free. As far as camp.
About the music festival.
Oh, okay. I don't know about a music festival, but I'm all about the crystals.
We also have a festival called Gem and Jam
Yeah,
coming up soon.
that's what I was talking about. Go and some electronic music.
One could easily go to the Gem and Mineral Show and probably earn enough money to buy themselves a ticket. into the German jam.
I'm more likely, if I felt attracted there, I'd probably lurk outside and get miracled in. But it's probably
Miracle, dude. I love that. See,
But
exactly.
like,
that's
that's
the
not
best
really
kind
my
of
scene.
good.
That's like not really something I
Oh,
want to do.
yeah.
I'm there for the healing. Usually people are there for the drugs and the hooking up. And like sometimes I'm really called there. I'll go minister.
Right, beautiful. Of course, I don't care what you go to. I support whoever wants to go anywhere. I want to go to the Gem and Mineral show.
I want to go to the Gem and Mineral shows too. And if this Gem and Jam thing happens, if fate ordains it, okay. But I'm not going to go out of my way to go there. If I happen to, it happens.
Never go out of your way. Right on.
I go out of the way to make sure I'm in my flow.
Yes, I can completely understand what you're saying.
We were totally married.
Do you want twin flame like fame? Come on, we like this. This is Sedona.
Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of the stream, to be honest.
Did you have a dream when you went back to sleep?
I laid down in my car, and I was.
Hold on, can we make this more drum effect? Like,
I mean, it's not a big deal.
You gotta get Zach on the bed too.
So you laid down and you had a vision?
Yeah. It was just like, it was so weird. And I was like, wow, Russell was right. Russell is a good psychic with accurate abilities. He's a nice guy.
He's horrible with that accent.
Just like that one lady.
But yes, I think
She's
there are
well
a lot
with
of
the
things
answers
interesting because we do not know who is watching it. You know? I don't know who's watching this. So that's a little weird, right?
Seems like there's one person watching
I
it.
think that's just us.
Yeah, but that person could be watching it later after it's archived, like, and they wouldn't know.
Probably
You guys are married more than once.
right? But I also don't really want to be in this vortex.
Oh yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, no, I feel that too.
It's been a lot of personal time. Let's put the dog on show for a while. There you go. Animal time.
Dog TV.
Animal time. We love you. We love you, animals. We love you so much.
That
So
dog
much
is
peace
the god of all thy
to the
sweatshirts
animals.
everywhere.
Love.
Was he Play-Doh?
Love. That's a good point to end the stream. Before the computer dies.
Oh, you're almost out of battery. You're turning it off. Great.
Are you sure you want to end your stream? We're gonna end.